Good gaming, ladies and gents. We are now going to watch a game between a Dargo Thrasios, Atraxa, Malcolm Bruse, and Talion. We'd like to thank the CLG, the CDH League of Gentlemen, for giving us the footage, and of course the Scruffy Octopus for giving us the equipment to film and record in their little store. Here we go. Have some fun. Good gaming. Here we've got Malcolm starting with a Tundra, if I remember correctly, playing in Nesper Sentinel. He will go right after that, go into a Jewel Lotus, and crack his Jewel Lotus to cast his Commander, Malcolm. He will, as a quick way, Talion plays a Watery Grave, shucks himself for 2, and we go passes the turn to Dargo Thrasios. Plays a Tundra, plays a Bird of the Paradise, and you see Talion does the bird dance. Atraxa will drop a Bloodstained Mire, will crack the said Bloodstained Mire, and will go and cast a Bird of Paradise. We now went to Malcolm. Malcolm's gonna attack Atraxa. Atraxa takes 2. Creates a treasure. Cracks the treasure for a Brainstorm. Plays a land. Gonna go fetch a Volcanic Island if I remember. And then he goes into Volcanic Island. And I believe he passes. Now we see the Italian player plays the Seagate land, shucks himself for 3, and passes the turn. We've got Dargo Thrasios playing Mystic Remora. Malcolm asked for Esper. He decides not to pay. Then cast a Talisman of Curiosity. I always forgot which one that one is. And he passes the turn. Atraxa plays Engine Tomb. Tries to cast a Grim Monolith. And Italian player seems unsure, but then they're talking about picking cards. That for 1, and it's an offer they can't refuse. Atraxa is sad, throws the Grim Monolith to the bin, and he gets 2 treasure. Passes the turn to Malcolm. So Malcolm drops a Stranded Magistrate, making sure nobody else plays. He forgot to roll is for his script. We believe 2 times, so he went twice. Pluses wins, minus lose. And I believe after that he will attack. Goes in, says for the bird, but then again, there's 2 birds, so he's gonna go for Atraxa. Makes a treasure. Treasure gets moved out of the creature area. Dargo Thrasios tries to cast Worldly Tutor. Draws for Esper. And after the draw, he's thinking, talking about a little bit of politics. He will tap 1 and do Swan Song of the Worldly Tutor. 42 goes to bin. There's a bunch of discussions on how many cards were drawn. And the question was for a Fairy Mastermind. Since only one card was drawn, there is no other card that were drawn at that turn. Then the Moo tries to cast his commander, and then everybody remember, oop, there's a Dranit. Sorry, my friend, Thrasios stays in the command zone. So this is why our channel is called Noobs Play CDH. You will see mistakes that's happening. And it is absolutely normal that every player does some errors, and sometimes we got Imperial Recruiter Kogat is Dockside. And Dockside goes to hand, and we is gonna pass as he has no other mana. Atraxa draws. Looks around the table, drop a Savannah if I remember correctly. Taps into to crack a treasure. And he will cast Culling Ritual. Taps the bird to put a blue in his pool and passes priority. So there's a few discussions about can you cast an extra spell or not. The Malcolm player seems to be willing to do something, but he's not actually sure what is going to be happening. We can see Dargo in Thrasios' hand. He has a fierce guardianship, however, it doesn't have his commander. So discussion going around. Culling Ritual will allow Atraxa to come out, so it is imperative that it does not, or that something happens. Now, Atraxa got reminded that he need to pay taxes. He pays 1 for the Esper Sentinel, and then remembers that it's a Mystic, so he cannot pay 4. Then D&T draws, says most can do nothing, and then that's it. Goes for a Flusterstorm. Only one spell got casted this turn. This is why he was asking for an extra spell. And then the Atraxa player has a choice to either go for the Culling Ritual, even though he would not be able to cast Atraxa, or just let the Culling Ritual get countered. So the play here would most probably be to do the Culling Ritual so that they can actually wipe the board and get people back to the same places that he would be losing all of the creatures on board. Well, pretty much all of the creatures on board outside of the Malcolm, because it's a 3 CMC. Oh, and Imperial Recruiter. So he's getting 9 mana. And it was, if I remember, 5 black and 4 green. He is looking to play a Jewel Lotus. Thank God we made him pay for his mana, otherwise he would have been able to cast Atraxa with that Culling Ritual. Malcolm goes to draw. Plays an exotic orchard. Malcolm survived the culling ritual thanks to his 3 CMC. Malcolm goes for Atraxa again. Atraxa player says, man, I only got 1 card in hand. Pretty sure I can't do nothing. But you know, that's the only... Oh, Jessica's Will. That's a surprise. Jessica's Will targeting... I think it was the Dargo and Thrasios. Popping in for 8. And then he flips Glinthorn, Ranger Captain, and his team vent. That Glinthorn is an extremely lucky draw, especially with 8 mana. So pays, of course, transform the Glinthorn into a creature on the field. The game could be over next turn. Thankfully, he already attacked, so the player will cast Bruse for his next combat step. We see Talion untapping, doing nothing, passes the turn, goes to D&T, Bloodstained Mire into... Would he crack it or not? So we're now seeing he's thinking a lot. Still thinking about his Dockside, however, just nothing on the board worth doing the Dockside for. He's gonna crack Bloodstained Mire for Volcanic. Transfer goes into... We need to start cutting his deck. So this is not a real league game, it was a game for fun. So you will not see the players cutting the decks, because usually people cut them themselves. We're not as strict on the rules. So Chrome Mox, exiling Life's Legacy. Taps for 3 for another Evolution on the Recruiter. Goes to grab his library. Then we are... Blue Malcolm playing politics, saying that he may have a counterspell. Surprisingly, there's nothing, and it goes the Seedborn Muse. It's something that we are not surprised to see as a Eldritch Evolution pile. Eldritch Evolution resolution. Atraxa on tap. D&T on tap 2. Taps 1. Taps 2. Ancient Tomb for a Fallmore Stone. Goes pass. Goes back to Malcolm and Bruse. If they do nothing, the game will be over, and it's the Cyclonic Rift on the Glinthorn. That is a game-saving move, as otherwise the game would be over. Attacking, Malcolm attacking, creating treasure, discarding cards, looping then the Glinthorn, Malcolm treasure into a game. Luckily, Talion had the clutch move. So Malcolm and Bruse goes to combat. Bruse goes to Atraxa. Malcolm goes to Talion in retaliation. Totally understandable. So takes 4. Atraxa takes 2. And the Malcolm Bruse gains 4. Which is thanks to Bruse giving double strike, lifelink, creates 2 treasure. Malcolm Bruse, looking at his 5 mana, looking at his cards. Jessica's will's already passed. What could he have in his hand? And will he try to do something? He has to believe somebody has something in their hand. Tries to go for Glinthorn. Oh, do we see that Mindbreak trap into DNT's hand? That would be brutal. Mindbreak trap on the Glinthorn, exiling the Wincon. That is a big piece gone. Then Talion, untap. Still on 2 land, no mana rock. Just saved the game, but has nothing else to do and is like, yeah, finally a 3rd land. Tadadale. Tadadale will allow him to ramp on each turn because this one is a Highland Walk and is going to be able to steal some mana crypt. Outside of that, there is not a bunch of stuff that he could do when he passes the turn. Goes back to D&T, 2 into Dockside. Not much around the board to be paying. Malcolm and Bruse cracks a treasure to get a blue. D&T gets 3 treasures in total. Use, if I remember correctly, use 1 land, 2 lands, and a treasure to do the Wheel of Fortune. Malcolm and Bruse tries to do a mystical tutor. The dispel to stop him from drawing into whatever he wants to tutor. So Talion just pointing out that there should be 1 less treasure. So everybody discards their hand. Nothing major except the Time Twister into Talion's hand, which would have been funny. Would have been a wheel into a Time Twister. Everybody draws 7 cards. D&T has an island and a treasure left. And whatever he draws into is 7. Everybody was close to be hellbent. Atraxa had 1 card, Talion had 2 if I remember correctly. 5, sorry. D&T had 2. The Flesh Duplicate. He doesn't have to name anything, but pretty sure he wants to copy the Dockside? Dockside for 3 again? I don't see the need. Well, he could go for Dargo and Thrasios again right after. Mindbreak Trap. Of course, it is way bigger than the 3rd spell. Mindbreak Trap exiles the Flesh Duplicate. No mana, passes the turn. Atraxa and D&T untaps. Atraxa seems to be moving a lot of mana. Goes with Ancient Tomb. So it's going to be the Jewel. It's playing around the Jewel Lotus, so most likely is going for Atraxa. Jewel Lotus. Ancient Tube, Jewel Lotus, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Atraxa comes in. Oh, the Force of Will. Pitching a Chain of Vapor. That is a weird exile, but clearly it's way better than having Atraxa on board. So right now it's the 2nd time that he's trying to get Atraxa out. So Mox Opal, Fell Warstone into Arcane Signet. Arcane into Ignoble Hierarch. So he's back to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana for Atraxa next turn, maybe? We will see. So DNT and Malcolm and Bruse on taps at the same time. Gemstone Cavern for turn. He will most probably go to combat, doing the same shenanigans, sending Bruse to Atraxa and Malcolm to Talion. Thanks to the dual double strike lifelink, goes back to 46. Let's see what he goes with. Goes and casts Sevine's Reclamation. There is nothing in the graveyard for the breach. He has a Brain Freeze in the graveyard, but nothing special other than that. Sevine's into a Mana Crypt, which is a weird cost, 3 for 2 mana. So Sevine's Resolve, Mana Crypt into play. Mana Crypt, Exotic Archer, and exiling Simian Spirit Guide and using a treasure. He will Sevine again, going into Dranit and Nesper. That would actually lock the game again. And a Pack of Negation clutch on the second Sevine, making sure that DNT can cast his commander. Such a clutch move. And now he will look at his options. Pay for a Siren Storm Tamer, which allows him to redirect the spell, do a deflecting swat on any instant or sorcery if it targets one of his creatures or him. Talion draws a Command Tower, plays the land, taps for 3, plays Mnemonic Betrayal. That is a big play, having some super stacked graveyard. Would it be enough to close the game? It may be. So double jeweled into his commander, because there's nothing else to do with Jewel Lotus mana. So we need to remember that he can use any mana of any color to cast the spells. Cast Talion, just to be sure that if something happens, he will be able to do something later on. Attack with Tadadel to go and steal an artifact. Everybody has an island, so she is unblockable. Goes into Atraxa's library. The Talion player will steal an artifact. He will steal her Mana Crypt, exile it under Tadadel, plays a crypt. So the Grim Monolith will be +1 on mana. Use a crypt to cast Grim. Use Grim to get up to 3 mana. Then cast Jeska's Will, because he can use any color casting Jeska's. He is targeting DNT. DNT will is tapping mana for something, and he's tapping Deflecting Swat, targeting Malcolm and Bruse, because Malcolm only has 1 card in hand. So now there was a weird discussions about, can you cast free spells? Like you see the Force of Will, which is on the table. And rule says you can cast free spells. Oh yeah, sure. So I'm gonna use your own Fierce Guardians to cancel your deflecting swats. So we get 1 mana less. Thankfully, the Fimage flip on the Jeska's Will. Fimage is cast as a copy of Dockside. Dockside will give him 6 treasures in total. With these 6 treasures and 2 mana left, now he can play a bunch of stuff from the graveyards. Since he is a new player, people are talking around, so what would be the lines? And so the lines that he is seeing is going to be Eldritch Involution into Tadadel. Tadadel will go get Tessa's Oracle. He's going to do Mystical Tutor into Tainted Pack on top of his library. Brainstorm to cast the Tainted Pack. And he will Tainted Pack on the Tessa's Oracle. That way he will be able to get the win. Thank you very much for watching through this wonderful game. The clutch win from the Italian player at the end with the Mnemonic Betrayal. Extreme luck on the Phantasmal Image. Thank you everyone. Stay tuned and keep playing and have some fun. Good gaming everyone.